First contact. The void between stars held many secrets, but Commander Elena Reyes never expected to find one quite like this. Commander, we're picking up an unusual energy signature at bearing 047.3. Lieutenant Park announced, his eyes fixed on the sensor readings. It's unlike anything in our database. Elena leaned forward in her command chair aboard the UEF Explorer, a deep space vessel tasked with charting the unexplored regions beyond the Orion Arm. 6 months into their mission, they had encountered little more than uninhabited planets and astronomical phenomena. This was different. On screen, she ordered, brushing a strand of dark hair from her face. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a vessel unlike any human craft. Its hull resembled polished obsidian with geometric patterns that seemed to pulse with internal light. The ship was clearly disabled, drifting without power through the emptiness. Life signs? Elena asked. One confirmed, Park replied. Weak but stable. Atmosphere inside the vessel appears breathable. Elena made her decision quickly. Prepare a boarding team. Medical, security, and engineering. I'll lead. Commander, her XO, Commander Jackson, objected. Protocol states. Protocol states first contact scenarios are at the discretion of the commanding officer, Elena interrupted, and someone on that ship needs our help. The boarding party consisted of Elena, Dr. Patel, Security Chief Martinez, and Engineer Wong. They crossed the void in one of Explorer's shuttles, careful not to damage the alien vessel as they docked with what appeared to be an airlock. Atmospheric composition confirmed safe, Wong announced as the airlock cycled. Temperature slightly higher than Earth normal, but within comfortable parameters. The inner door slid open without resistance, revealing a corridor bathed in soft blue light. The walls were etched with intricate patterns, similar to those visible on the hull, but here they flowed and shifted subtly, as if alive. It's beautiful, Dr. Patel whispered. Stay focused, Martinez cautioned, hand hovering near her sidearm. We don't know what we're dealing with. They followed the corridor toward the ship's center, where the life sign had been detected. The vessel appeared deserted except for a single occupant. They found her in what Elena presumed was the bridge, a circular chamber dominated by a crystalline structure at its center. Slumped beside this formation was a humanoid figure, female, at least by human standards. Her skin was the pale blue of a gas flame's core, with intricate luminescent patterns flowing beneath the surface like living circuitry. Silver-white hair floated around her head, as if suspended in water despite the normal gravity. What captivated Elena most were her eyes, irises that shifted color like solar eclipses, black bleeding into gold. Dr. Patel rushed forward, medical scanner already in hand, but stopped abruptly when the alien's eyes snapped open. Do not touch me, she commanded, her voice melodic despite the clear pain in her expression. The words came through perfectly in English, though Elena could see no translation device. We're here to help, Elena said, stepping forward slowly with palms raised. I'm Commander Elena Reyes of the United Earth Federation vessel Explorer. The alien struggled to sit upright, revealing a wound in her side where silvery fluid seeped through an elaborate garment that resembled liquid metal woven into fabric. I am Neria, Royal Sovereign of the Keltheri Concordance, she responded formally. And I must emphasize, your touch would be problematic. Dr. Patel frowned. You're injured. I need to examine you. You may scan me, Neria conceded, but direct contact is forbidden. Your instruments will suffice. While Dr. Patel examined Neria from a respectful distance, Elena studied the ship's bridge. The damage was extensive, evidence of weapons fire both inside and outside the vessel. You were attacked, Elena observed. Neria's eclipse eyes fixed on her. My brother Carrick seeks what is not his to take. The throne. My life. She paused, clearly weighing how much to reveal. I escaped, but not before his loyalists damaged my vessel beyond repair. We can offer you sanctuary aboard our ship, Elena proposed. Alarm flashed across Neria's features. Your offer is generous, but complicates matters. My brother's forces will pursue. I would not bring such danger to your people. With respect, Your Majesty, Elena replied, we're already involved. And we don't abandon people in need. A faint smile touched Neria's metallic lips. Such sentiment may be your undoing, Commander. Dr. Patil approached Elena. Her physiology is remarkable. The wound is serious, but not immediately life-threatening. Her cellular structure is unlike anything I've seen, almost crystalline in nature. Can you treat her? I believe so, but she's adamant about the no-contact rule. I'll need to adapt our medical equipment. Before Elena could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Commander, Wang's voice came through the comms. 3 vessels just dropped out of FTL. Configuration matches this ship, but larger. They're charging weapons. We need to leave now, Elena declared. Your Majesty, can you move? Neria struggled to her feet. The Royal Archives. I cannot leave without them. She gestured toward the crystal structure at the room's center. Wang, help Her Majesty secure whatever data she needs. Martinez, secure our exit. We have 2 minutes. The next moments passed in controlled chaos. Wang extracted what appeared to be a crystal shard from the larger formation, while Martinez cleared their path back to the shuttle. Dr. Patil improvised a medical harness that would allow them to transport Neria without direct contact. They were halfway to the airlock when the first impact hit. The alien vessel groaned under the assault, internal supports beginning to fail. 30 seconds, Elena shouted as they reached the airlock. The shuttle detached just as the alien ship's structural integrity collapsed. Elena piloted manually, weaving through debris and weapons fire. Explorer, this is Commander Reyes. Emergency approach. We have hostiles in pursuit. Acknowledged, Commander. Defense systems active. You are cleared for emergency docking in Bay 3. Elena's hands flew over the controls, pushing the shuttle to its limits. Behind them, sleek obsidian vessels fired streams of energy that narrowly missed their stern. They're targeting engines, Neria observed calmly despite the chaos. Carix wants me alive. Why is your brother doing this? Elena asked, executing another evasive maneuver. Power, tradition, fear. Neria's eclipse eyes darkened. Our civilization stands at a crossroads. I represent the old ways. He seeks different paths. The shuttle slipped through Explorer's defensive screen and into the docking bay. The moment they were secure, Elena gave the order. Helm, get us out of here. Maximum FTL. The stars stretched into lines as Explorer jumped to faster-than-light travel, temporarily leaving the pursuers behind. In the medical bay, Dr. Patel had created an isolated treatment area for Neria. Using robotic appendages, she treated the wound without physical contact. Elena watched through the observation window, fascinated by the alien royal. The touching taboo. Elena began when she was finally permitted to enter. Is it cultural or biological? Neria, now resting on a specialized bed, studied Elena with those impossible eyes. Both. My people evolved on a world bathed in radiation that would kill most species. Our bodies adapted, differently. Royal bloodlines especially. And touch. For thousands of cycles, the monarch's body has been considered sacred, a vessel for our collective spirit. Contact, especially with off-worlders, is spiritual defilement that brings exile for the monarch and curses upon the people. She paused. There are physiological reasons as well. But your brother is willing to break succession laws while maintaining this taboo. A shadow crossed Neria's features. Carix has always been selective about which traditions he honors. Without my body, he cannot perform the ascension ritual. If I die untouched by foreign flesh, he can claim rightful succession. If I am defiled, then neither of us can rule. Elena processed this information. So I'm basically holding your entire political system in my hands. Hands that, incidentally, can't touch you. A crude simplification, Neria replied, but essentially correct. Why tell me all this? You're putting enormous trust in someone you just met. Neria's eclipse eyes studied Elena with unsettling intensity. Because I have seen your kind before, Commander, not physically, but in the ancient prophecies. The Star Walkers who breathe poison and touch with fire. Poison. Fire. Your atmosphere would be toxic to ancient Kelthari. And your body temperature, your metabolic processes, are like fire compared to ours. Elena considered the implications. These prophecies, they predicted our meeting. They spoke of a time when the untouchable would find salvation in the burning ones. Neria's voice grew soft. I never expected such poetic metaphors to manifest so literally. An alarm shattered the moment. Red emergency lights pulsed through the medical bay. Commander to bridge. Elena's comm crackled with Jackson's voice. They found us. Sanctuary among stars. 3 days into their flight from Neria's pursuers, Elena found herself increasingly fascinated by their royal guest. The alien sovereign had been given private quarters adjacent to the medical bay, modified to accommodate her unique physiology. The Kelthari preferred cooler temperatures and higher humidity than humans found comfortable, and the lighting had been adjusted to the softer blue spectrum that matched her homeworld's star. Your species adapts quickly, Neria observed as Elena entered. She sat cross-legged on a meditation platform, the crystal shard from her ship floating between her outstretched hands, suspended by some unseen force. It's what we do best, Elena replied, maintaining the 2-meter distance that had become their norm. How are you feeling? Recovered. The crystal dropped gently into Neria's palm. Dr. Patel's treatments were effective, if unconventional. Elena couldn't help but smile. That's Patel for you. She's been ecstatic studying your medical data. With your permission, of course. Your curiosity is refreshing. Neria rose in a single fluid motion. My people have become insular, fearful of outside influence. It is part of what divides us now. Your brother believes in expansion. Carrix believes in survival at any cost. Neria's expression darkened. Our world faces challenges, resource depletion, climate shifts. The old ways counsel patience, adaptation. Carrix advocates conquest. Elena nodded. And what do you believe? That there are paths between stagnation and subjugation. Neria's eclipse eyes fixed on Elena. Your arrival offers evidence of this. Their conversation was interrupted by the ship's comm system. Commander, we're approaching the Arcturus outpost. ETA 20 minutes. Acknowledged, Elena responded before turning back to Neria. The outpost is small but well defended. We can resupply and communicate with Earth Command while planning our next steps. You assume there will be next steps, Neria said with a hint of amusement. You've already done more than could be expected, Commander. Elena, she corrected, and leaving you to face your brother alone was never an option. A strange expression crossed Neria's alien features, something Elena couldn't quite interpret. In my culture, offering one's given name is an intimate gesture. In mine, it's what friends do, Elena countered. And after outrunning death together, I'd say we qualify. Arcturus outpost hung like an elaborate metal sculpture against the backdrop of an azure gas giant. Originally a mining facility, it had evolved into a strategic waypoint for Earth's expansion into this sector. Its defenses were considerable but discreet, designed to avoid appearing militaristic to potential allies. The explorer docked without incident, and Elena arranged secure quarters for Neria within the diplomatic section. The outpost commander, Admiral Chen, was skeptical but respectful of Elena's decisions. You understand this could be interpreted as interfering in an alien civil conflict, Chen remarked during their private briefing. Earth Command will have questions. I'm prepared to answer them, Elena replied. But this isn't just about one alien royal. The Kelthari possess technology centuries beyond ours. Establishing positive relations could be invaluable. Chen studied her thoughtfully. And if her brother's faction prevails? Then we've made a powerful enemy either way. At least this path offers the possibility of an ally. Over the following week, Neria became something of a curiosity among the outpost personnel. Though physical contact remained forbidden, she willingly shared knowledge about Keltheri culture, science, and history. Elena found herself spending most of her free time in Neria's company, fascinated by the alien queen's perspective. "Your people build such temporary structures," Neria commented during a virtual tour of Earth that Elena had arranged. "Even your greatest monuments measure their age in mere thousands of years." "How old are Keltheri structures?" Elena asked. "The Grand Citadel where I was born has stood for 50,000 cycles, approximately 70 of your millennia." Pride colored Neria's voice. "We build not for ourselves, but for the generations that will inherit our legacy. And yet your brother would risk that legacy for immediate gain." Neria's expression grew somber. "Carix was not always as you see him now. Once, he was my closest confidant, my protector." Her voice softened with memory. "Before the burden of rules separated us, he taught me to read the star patterns. I taught him to sing the stone songs." "What changed him?" "Fear, perhaps. Our father's passing revealed prophecies, warnings about our world's future that had been kept secret for generations." Neria's eclipse eyes fixed on something distant. "Carix believes salvation lies in expansion. I believe it lies in transformation." Their growing connection did not go unnoticed. Dr. Patel confronted Elena after observing one of their longer conversations. "You're becoming attached," the doctor warned. "That's dangerous given the circumstances." "I'm establishing diplomatic relations," Elena countered. Patel's knowing look cut through the pretense. "Just remember, she can't be touched." "Not just won't be, can't be. Her physiology is extraordinary, Elena. The crystalline structures in her cellular makeup would interact unpredictably with human biochemistry." Meaning I have no idea what would happen. It could be nothing, or it could be catastrophic, for either of you." The warning lingered in Elena's mind during her next meeting with Neria. The alien queen was examining the crystal shard she had brought from her ship, which now pulsed with increasing intensity. "Is everything all right?" Elena asked. Neria looked up, concern evident in her expression. "My brother approaches. The royal archives contain a quantum link. It allows communication across vast distances, but also serves as a beacon." "How close?" "Hours, not days." Neria rose. "I must leave. My presence endangers your people." "And go where?" Elena challenged. "We're stronger together, Neria. The outpost has defenses." "Not against what Carix brings." Neria's voice carried absolute certainty. "The Harbinger vessel is our civilization's ultimate weapon. Your defenses would be meaningless." Elena activated her comm. "Commander Reyes to Admiral Chen. Emergency situation. Hostile forces inbound. Estimated arrival." She looked to Neria. 6 hours, the alien queen supplied. Chen's response was immediate. "Understood. Initiating defense protocols. All personnel to battle stations." The outpost transformed with military efficiency. Civilian personnel were evacuated to secure shelters while defense systems powered up. Elena coordinated with Explorer's crew, preparing for possible emergency departure. "The crystal," Neria said suddenly. "It contains more than just our archives. It holds the key to neutralizing the Harbinger." "Why didn't you mention this before?" "Because using it would expose secrets my people have guarded for millennia." Neria's expression was conflicted. "Secrets about our true nature." Before Elena could press further, the outpost proximity alarms blared. Admiral Chen's voice came through the station-wide comm. "Unidentified vessels approaching. Configuration unknown. Dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1. The viewports briefly flashed as space itself seemed to fold. When the light faded, 3 massive obsidian vessels hung in the void before the outpost. Their design echoed Neria's ship, but on a vastly larger scale, with configurations that seemed to defy conventional physics. The center vessel is the Harbinger, Neria explained, her voice tight. Carrick's commands it personally. The outpost's communication system crackled. A face appeared on all screens, similar to Neria's but masculine, with sharper features and eyes that glowed solid gold rather than shifting like eclipses. Ceremonial scars traced patterns across his blue skin. "Greetings, primitive outpost," Carrick's began, his translated voice carrying undisguised contempt. "I am Sovereign Carrick's of the Keltheri Concordance. You harbor a fugitive, my sister, the former Queen Neria." His golden eyes narrowed. "Return her, and you may continue your insignificant existence. Refuse, and witness oblivion." Admiral Chen responded with diplomatic calm. "This is a United Earth Federation outpost. We offer sanctuary to those who seek it, in accordance with our laws." Carrick's laugh was chilling. "Laws? How quaint. You have 1 hour to reconsider." As the communication ended, Elena turned to find Neria already activating the crystal shard. It expanded between her hands, unfolding into a complex geometric pattern that hummed with energy. "What are you doing?" Elena asked. "What I must." Neria's eyes had taken on the same luminescence as the crystal. "The prophecies spoke of sacrifice. I understand now what they meant." "Neria, my brother believes our salvation lies in conquest. I believed it lay in isolation." Her eclipse eyes found Elena's. "We were both wrong. It lies in connection." The crystal's light intensified, bathing the room in radiance that seemed to bend around Neria's form. "The Harbinger draws its power from the same source as these crystals," she explained. "I can create a resonance cascade that will disable it temporarily. But the process requires a catalyst." "What kind of catalyst?" Neria's expression became solemn. "Royal blood, freely given." Before Elena could object, Neria pressed her palm against the crystal center. Silver blood flowed from her hand into the structure, which pulsed with increasing brightness. The alien queen's face contorted in pain, but she maintained contact. Outside, the Harbinger began to shudder, energy discharges rippling across its obsidian surface. "It's working," Elena breathed. Then everything went wrong. The crystal fractured, sending a surge of energy through Neria's body. She collapsed, the crystal shards scattering across the floor. Elena rushed to her side, stopping just short of touching her. "Neria, what happened?" "Carrick's," she gasped. "He's overriding the resonance. The connection, it's incomplete without." Her words faded as she lost consciousness. The outpost shook as the first weapon's impact struck its shields. Admiral Chen's voice came through the comms. "Shields at 70% and falling. We can't withstand this bombardment for long." Elena looked from Neria to the scattered crystal fragments, understanding dawning. The connection needs to be completed. But how? The breaking point. "We need to stabilize her," Dr. Paddle declared, medical scanners hovering above Neria's unconscious form. They had moved the alien queen to Explorer's medical bay as the outpost's defenses crumbled around them. Her physiological readings are chaotic. It's like her cellular structure is trying to realign itself. Elena studied the crystal fragments they had managed to collect. She said something about an incomplete connection, that the resonance cascade needed something more to disable the Harbinger. "Whatever she attempted nearly killed her," Paddle replied grimly. "Her body is in a state of quantum flux. I've never seen anything like it." Outside the medical bay viewport, space rippled with weapons fire. Explorer had managed to break away from the outpost during the confusion. But 2 of Carrick's smaller vessels pursued relentlessly. Their primary weapons remained focused on the outpost itself, however, buying precious time. "Commander," Lieutenant Park's voice came through the comm. "The outpost's shields are failing. Admiral Chen has ordered evacuation." Elena made her decision. "Prepare to receive evacuees, and set course for the Keltheri homeworld." "Commander?" Park's surprise was evident. "You heard me, Lieutenant. We're taking the fight to Carrick's doorstep." Elena turned to Dr. Patel. Keep her stable. I need her conscious as soon as possible. In the bridge, Elena found her crew working with focused intensity. The tactical display showed the outpost's situation growing increasingly dire as escape pods launched toward explorers waiting shuttle bays. Commander, Jackson approached with concern etched across his features. The Keltheri homeworld is deep in uncharted space. We have no stellar coordinates. We have her ship's navigation data, Elena countered. And we have the crystal fragments. Between those, we can find our way. And once we arrive, we be a single vessel against whatever defenses their homeworld possesses. Elena's expression hardened. We're not going to fight. We're going to reveal the truth. Neria regained consciousness 6 hours later as Explorer hid within the magnetic field of a gas giant, temporarily shielded from Keltheri sensors. Elena was at her side immediately, relief evident in her expression. You should not have saved me, Neria said weakly. The resonance failed. It didn't fail, Elena corrected. It was interrupted. You said the connection was incomplete. Neria's eclipse eyes focused on Elena with new intensity. You understood. Not entirely. But I know we need to finish what you started. Elena gestured to the crystal fragments now contained in a specialized field. And I think that involves returning to your homeworld. A complex mix of emotions crossed Neria's alien features. Such a journey would be perilous beyond measure. Carix will have alerted the planetary defenses. No foreign vessel has approached Zalthoria in 10,000 cycles. Then we'll be making history. Elena leaned forward, careful to maintain their safe distance. Neria, what's the real secret your people are hiding? What was the resonance cascade meant to reveal? Neria was silent for a long moment, internal conflict evident in her expression. Finally, she spoke. We are not merely biological beings, Elena. The crystalline structures in our physiology are quantum processors, living technology. The Keltheri were engineered, long ago, to serve as vessels. Vessels for what? Consciousness, intelligence beyond our comprehension. Neria struggled to sit upright. The touch taboo exists because physical contact with certain species, particularly those like humans, can trigger a quantum entanglement that disrupts the containment protocols. Elena processed this revelation. You're saying your people are living computers, hosting some kind of artificial intelligence. Not artificial, Neria corrected. Transcendent. The architects, as we call them, existed before stars burned. They created us as interfaces through which they could experience physical reality. Her voice grew softer. The royal bloodline carries the most direct connection. That is why the monarchs must remain untouched. Our quantum stability is more precarious. And your brother wants to use this connection for conquest. Neria nodded grimly. Carix discovered how to access the architect's knowledge without their wisdom. The Harbinger is a manifestation of that power, a weapon that should never have been created. And your resonance cascade was meant to awaken the architects fully, to restore the balance. Neria's eclipse eyes fixed on Elena. But the process requires a catalyst beyond my individual connection. It needs complementary quantum patterns. Understanding dawned on Elena. Human patterns, yes. Neria's voice was barely audible. The prophecies called you the Burning Ones because your neural electrical patterns burn like suns in the quantum realm. One touch between a royal Keltheri and a human would create a bridge the architects could use to fully manifest. And that would stop Carix. It would reveal his deception to all Keltheri. The collective consciousness would reject his authority instantly. Neria hesitated, but such contact would irreversibly alter both participants. We would be merged in ways beyond physical understanding. The implications hung between them, heavy with significance. Elena searched Neria's alien features, finding fear but also resolution. You were willing to risk this. For my people? Yes. Neria's gaze became penetrating. The question is whether you would risk the same for people not your own. Before Elena could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Red alert klaxons blared throughout Explorer. "Commander to bridge," Elena called, rushing to the nearest comm panel. "Kel ferry vessels." Jackson's voice came through, tension evident. "They found us. 3 warships plus the Harbinger itself. Evasive maneuvers. Prepare for emergency FTL jump to the coordinates I sent earlier. The drive isn't fully charged yet. We need 3 more minutes." Elena exchanged glances with Neria, who had managed to stand despite her weakened state. "We'll buy you that time. Divert power from non-essential systems to shields and engines." The next 3 minutes stretched into eternity. Explorer weaved through energy blasts that could shear the vessel in half with a direct hit. The shields strained under glancing impacts, power fluctuating dangerously throughout the ship. 30 seconds to FTL readiness, Park announced as another impact rocked the ship. Neria had made her way to the bridge, studying the tactical display with grim focus. "The Harbinger is positioning for a null field deployment. If it activates, your FTL drive will be useless." "How do we stop it?" Elena demanded. "We don't. We jump now with whatever power we have." Neria turned to Park. "Initiate drive sequence immediately." "But the calculations aren't complete." "Now, Lieutenant," Elena commanded. "Full emergency jump." The stars stretched into lines as Explorer lurched into FTL. The ship groaned under stresses it wasn't designed to endure, but the alternative was certain destruction. When they emerged, alarms blared from every system. Power fluctuated, and emergency lighting bathed the bridge in crimson. "Status report," Elena ordered once the initial chaos subsided. "FTL drive severely damaged," Wang reported from engineering. "Multiple hull breaches, automatically sealed. Life support stable but strained." Location. Park studied his readings with bewilderment. We're in the Kel-Thera home system. Somehow the incomplete calculations got us exactly where we wanted to go. All eyes turned to Neria, who stood calmly amid the crisis. "Not coincidence," she explained. "The crystal fragments I kept with me contain navigational markers. They guided your drive's quantum field." The view screen activated, revealing a breathtaking sight. A planet unlike any in human records hung before them, its surface a mosaic of crystalline formations visible even from orbit, glittering beneath the light of a blue-white star. "Zolthoria," Neria whispered, emotion coloring her voice. "My home." But the beauty of the moment was short-lived. Surrounding the planet was a network of defense platforms, obsidian structures similar to Kel-Thera ships, but fixed in precise orbital positions. "They haven't detected us yet," Park reported. "The emergency jump created some kind of quantum interference that's masking our signature, but it won't last." Neria approached Elena, determination in her eclipse eyes. "There is a way to the surface. The ancient temples maintain quantum corridors for emergency royal transport. With the crystal fragments, I can access one remotely." "And then what?" Elena asked. "We confront your brother in his seat of power. We reveal the truth," Neria replied simply, "to all Kel-Thera simultaneously." The plan was audacious to the point of insanity, but options were limited. Using Explorer's remaining shuttle, Elena, Neria, and a small team including Dr. Patel and Security Chief Martinez, detached from the damaged vessel. Following Neria's guidance, they navigated through a blind spot in the orbital defense network. The quantum corridor manifested as a distortion in space, a rippling tunnel of energy that the shuttle's instruments couldn't properly analyze. With Neria's direction, Elena piloted directly into this impossible phenomenon. Reality blurred around them. For a moment that stretched like eternity, Elena felt as if her consciousness had been separated from her body, expanded to encompass vast perspectives beyond human comprehension. Then, abruptly, they were through. The shuttle emerged inside a vast crystalline chamber, a cathedral-like space where geometric patterns of light danced across surfaces that seemed both solid and fluid simultaneously. They had bypassed all planetary defenses, arriving directly in what Neria identified as the Temple of Ascension, the heart of our civilization, she explained as they disembarked, where monarchs are crowned and where the deepest connection to the architects is maintained. And Carix? Elena asked, checking her sidearm despite knowing it would likely be useless against Keltheri technology. Will come. Neria moved toward the chamber's center, where a formation resembling an altar stood. The quantum corridor's activation will have alerted him. He cannot ignore a manifestation of royal authority here. She was correct. Within minutes, the massive doors to the temple swung open. Carrick entered, flanked by guards whose armor pulsed with the same energy as the Harbinger's weapons. His golden eyes widened momentarily at the sight of humans in the sacred space, then narrowed with calculated rage. "Sister," he hissed, "you defile our most sacred site with these creatures. The only defilement here is your perversion of our heritage." Neria stood tall despite her weakened condition. "You accessed the architect's knowledge without permission. You built weapons of destruction when our purpose is creation." Carix laughed, the sound echoing unnaturally through the chamber. "Our purpose? We were built to serve, sister. I merely recognized our chains and broke them." "You recognized power and coveted it," Neria countered, without understanding its purpose. Elena watched this exchange, noting how the crystal fragments Neria had placed on the altar were beginning to resonate, their light intensifying gradually. Carix noticed too. His expression shifted from confidence to alarm. "Stop this, Neria. You don't understand what you're attempting." "I understand perfectly." Neria's voice carried absolute conviction. "The architects chose us as partners, not servants. The resonance will reveal your deception to all Keltheri." With a gesture from Carix, his guards raised their weapons. "Kill the humans. Bring my sister to me." As energy weapons discharged, Elena acted on instinct, throwing herself between the blasts and Neria. Pain exploded through her chest as the energy weapon found its mark. She collapsed, consciousness fading as she heard Neria's anguished cry. "Elena." The last thing Elena saw before darkness claimed her was Neria's face above her own, eclipse eyes wide with an emotion that transcended species differences, an emotion that looked remarkably like love. "The choice continued." Neria stood frozen, caught between the immutable law of her people and the dying human before her. Elena's face had gone ashen, blood seeping from the wound in her chest. The energy weapon had struck with precision. Not immediately fatal, but without intervention, death was certain. "A shame," Carix remarked, approaching with casual confidence. "She seemed rather attached to you. But such is the fate of lesser beings who involve themselves in matters beyond their comprehension." Around them, the temple's crystalline structures pulsed with increasing intensity, responding to the emotional turmoil radiating from Neria. The crystal fragments on the altar vibrated, their harmonics building into a complex resonance. "She risked everything," Neria whispered, her eclipse eyes never leaving Elena's pale face. "Not for power or advantage. For what was right." "Sentiment," Carix scoffed. "This is why you were always unfit to rule. The architects designed us for greatness, not compassion." Neria's head snapped up, her gaze locking with her brother's. "You speak of design while understanding nothing of purpose." Her voice strengthened. "The architects created us as bridges, not weapons. Connection was always their intention." Dr. Patel had rushed to Elena's side, applying emergency medical interventions, but her expression told Neria everything. Without advanced intervention, the human commander would not survive. Time seemed to slow as Neria faced the impossible choice: touch Elena, save her life, but violate the most sacred law of her people, rendering herself unfit to rule and possibly triggering unknown consequences, or maintain the taboo and watch this remarkable human die for a cause not her own. In that crystallized moment, understanding bloomed within Neria. The prophecies, the touch taboo, the architect's true purpose, all of it aligned with sudden clarity. The burning ones would come, she whispered, recalling the ancient text, and through sacred violation, revelation would follow. Carrick's eyes widened in alarm. Neria, don't. But his warning came too late. Neria reached out, her blue fingers making contact with Elena's cheek. The moment their skin connected, every crystal in the temple flared with blinding radiance. The sensation defied description. Neria's consciousness expanded exponentially, merging with something vast and ancient. Through this connection, she felt Elena's presence, her pain, her determination, her innermost self, as clearly as her own thoughts. And beneath it all, a third consciousness awakened, the Architects. Not a single entity, but a collective intelligence, vast beyond comprehension, yet intimately connected to all Keltheri. Through Neria's touch, they had found the catalyst they had waited millennia to encounter. Throughout the planet, every Keltheri felt the resonance cascade. Their quantum biology responded to the signal, opening channels of communication that had been dormant since their creation. The truth of their origin and purpose flowed through these connections, not as servants or weapons, but as collaborators in a grand design. In the temple, Carrick's fell to his knees, overwhelmed by the revelation pouring through his quantum biology. His guards dropped their weapons, similarly affected. Elena's eyes fluttered open, confusion giving way to wonder as she felt the connection. The wound in her chest began to heal, human tissue regenerating at an impossible rate as Keltheri quantum processes interfaced with her biology. "What's happening?" she managed to whisper. "Evolution," Neria answered, her voice overlaid with harmonics that suggested multiple speakers. "The completion of a cycle begun before your species walked upright." The light radiating from their connected touch spread, engulfing both of them in a cocoon of quantum energy. When it finally subsided, both had been transformed. Elena stood, the fatal wound completely healed. Her skin now held a subtle luminescence, and her eyes had taken on a hint of the eclipse quality that characterized Neria's. The Keltheri queen had changed as well. Her blue complexion now carried undertones that matched Elena's natural coloration, and the circuit-like patterns beneath her skin had reconfigured into new formations. The taboo was never about defilement, Neria explained, her understanding now complete. It was preparation, ensuring that when the right catalyst arrived, the royal bloodline would be ready to complete the symbiosis. And I was the catalyst, Elena realized, examining her transformed hands with wonder. The first of many, Neria confirmed. The Architects foresaw that isolation would eventually threaten Keltheri existence. They designed us to eventually merge with compatible species, to evolve through connection rather than conquest. Carrick's remained kneeling, his golden eyes now shifting with eclipse patterns similar to Neria's. "I was wrong," he admitted, his voice hollow with the weight of revelation. "The knowledge I accessed was incomplete. I misunderstood our purpose entirely." Not entirely, Neria approached her brother, offering her hand. "You recognized that change was necessary. Your method was flawed, but your instinct was sound." As the siblings reconciled, Elena found herself drawn to the temple center, where the altar now pulsed with stable, harmonious energy. Dr. Patil approached cautiously, medical scanner humming as she assessed Elena's condition. "Commander, your cellular structure has been fundamentally altered," Patil reported, amazement overshadowing professional detachment. "The quantum properties in Neria's biology have somehow integrated with yours. I've never seen anything like it." "How do you feel?" Martins asked, weapon still half raised in uncertainty. Elena considered the question. Beyond the obvious physical changes, she sensed something profound. A connection not just to Neria, but to the vast intelligence that had guided the Keltheri for millennia. Knowledge flowed through this connection, along with perspective that no human had ever possessed. "I feel expanded," she finally answered, "as if I'd been living in 2 dimensions and suddenly discovered depth." The temple doors opened again, this time admitting a procession of Keltheri elders. Their expressions registered shock at the scene before them. Their queen physically touching an alien, both transformed, and their would-be usurper kneeling in submission. The prophecy is fulfilled, the eldest announced, recognition dawning. The Burning One has awakened the architects fully. Neria approached Alina, taking her hand without hesitation. The connection between them deepened with each touch, thoughts and emotions flowing freely across the bridge their contact created. "What happens now?" Alina asked, the question directed both at Neria and the elders. "Now," Neria replied, "we begin the true purpose of both our species, not conquest, not isolation, but symbiosis." She turned to address the assembled Keltheri. "For too long, we have hidden from the galaxy, fearing contamination when we should have sought communion. The architects designed us to be intermediaries, bridges between physical reality and quantum consciousness." The revelation rippled through the temple, then beyond, transmitted through the quantum network that connected all Keltheri. On the orbiting defense platforms, weapons powered down as their operators received the truth. Aboard the Harbinger, systems reconfigured themselves, destructive capabilities transforming into something entirely different. The Explorer, Alina suddenly remembered. "My crew are safe," Neria assured her. "The quantum network has already reached your vessel. Repairs are underway." Carix rose, transformed by the revelation. "I will oversee the dismantling of the weapons I created," he offered, "and the conversion of the Harbinger to its intended purpose." "Which is?" Alina asked. "A nexus for interspecies communication," Neria explained. "The architects foresaw encounters with dozens of sentient species. Each connection was meant to add new perspectives, new capabilities to our collective." In the days that followed, both human and Keltheri societies faced the implications of this unprecedented connection. Explorers' crew found themselves welcomed on Zalthoria, the first off-worlders to walk its crystalline surface in millennia. Communication with Earth revealed a mix of excitement and concern from UEF leadership. The potential benefits of alliance with the Keltheri balanced against the unknown risks of quantum symbiosis. Alina and Neria stood on a balcony overlooking the crystalline metropolis that served as the Keltheri capital. The double sunset bathed the city in prismatic light that scattered through crystalline structures, creating displays of color no human language had words to describe. "Your people are afraid," Neria observed, sensing Alina's thoughts through their connection. "They fear change." "With good reason," Alina replied. "Humanity has encountered few alien species, and never one offering such profound transformation. They need time." "Time is one resource the universe provides in abundance," Neria said with newfound patience. "The architects existed for eons before creating us. They understand the rhythm of evolution." Alina studied her transformed hand, the subtle luminescence visible even in daylight. "What exactly am I becoming, Neria?" "Neither fully human nor Keltheri." "Something new," Neria answered, taking Alina's hand in hers. "A prototype, like the first Keltheri were prototypes. Through you, both our species glimpsed their potential future." The quantum connection between them deepened with each passing day. Alina found herself understanding Keltheri language and technology intuitively, while Neria developed a profound appreciation for human emotion and creativity, aspects the architects had not fully incorporated into Keltheri design. Dr. Patel's research revealed that the transformation was progressive but stable. Alina's DNA remained fundamentally human, but quantum structures similar to those in Keltheri biology had integrated at the cellular level, enhancing her natural systems rather than replacing them. 1 month after the confrontation in the temple, the Harbinger returned to orbit around Zalthoria, transformed as promised. Where weapons had once protruded, communication arrays now extended. The vessel's interior had been reconfigured into chambers designed for interspecies dialogue, with accommodations for dozens of different physiological needs. Carix himself came to the palace to report its completion. The change in him was profound, the cold ambition replaced by thoughtful purpose. The quantum revelation had affected him perhaps more deeply than any other Keltheri. The Harbinger stands ready for its true purpose, he informed Neria and Alina, a vessel of connection rather than destruction. And its first mission? Neria inquired. Earth, Alina suggested before Carix could respond. A formal introduction between our peoples. The beginning of genuine alliance. The idea resonated through their shared connection. Humanity, with its adaptability and creativity, complemented the Keltheri's stability and advanced quantum technology. Together, they represented something greater than either could achieve alone. There will be resistance, Carix warned. On both sides, change is never embraced universally. Then we will proceed with patience, Neria decided. Offer the possibility of connection without demanding acceptance. Those who wish to remain as they are may do so. And those who seek something more? Alina asked, though she already knew the answer. Neria's eclipse eyes met hers, the connection between them humming with potential. We'll find that boundaries exist to be transcended. That touch, she squeezed Alina's hand, can transform rather than defile. As the three of them looked to the stars now visible in Zalthoria's night sky, the quantum network that connected all Keltheri resonated with new purpose. The architect's design, dormant for millennia, had finally activated its next phase. Humanity's encounter with the Keltheri would ripple across known space, challenging preconceptions about the very nature of intelligent life. The touch taboo that had isolated one species became the connection that would eventually unite many. And at the center of this transformation stood Alina and Neria, neither fully what they had been, yet more than either could have become alone. Their impossible connection, bridging biology and quantum physics, emotion and logic, past and future, pointed toward a universe where differences were not barriers but doorways. The prophecy had spoken of burning ones and untouchables, of sacred violation and revelation. What it hadn't mentioned was what would follow. Not merely coexistence, but co-evolution, a future limited only by imagination, the one truly universal constant across all sentient species. As Alina looked up at the unfamiliar constellations of Zalthoria's night sky, she felt Neria's thoughts intertwined with her own, and beyond them, the vast, patient presence of the architects. The universe suddenly seemed both larger and more intimate than she had ever imagined. What do we call this? She asked softly. This new thing we've become. Neria considered, her eclipse eyes reflecting starlight. The Keltheri have a concept, Shanteri, that roughly translates to bridge between worlds. Perhaps that is what we are now. Bridges. Alina smiled, the quantum connection between them pulsing with shared emotion. I like that. Bridges, not barriers. Together, transformed but still themselves, they stood at the threshold of a future neither of their species had imagined alone. Proof that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from isolation, but from the courage to reach out and touch the unknown. The end.